AI fallacies. I use DeepSeek 284B online for this. Language is intelligence. Prompt. Language is an output of intelligence. It is often generated as a response to input from the senses, such as sight and hearing. This means that AIs must be able to process sensory input in the same way a human does. Sometimes it's generated as an output of thinking. This means that AIs must simulate all aspects of thinking. Response. The assumption that language is intelligence has become surprisingly common in the age of large language models. Because models like DeepSeek, GPT-4, or Claude can produce fluent, contextually relevant text, many infer that they must possess something akin to human intelligence. But the prompt rightly challenges this. If language is an output of intelligence, then generating language without the underlying sensory and cognitive machinery is not evidence of intelligence itself. Human language emerges from a lifetime of multisensory experience, sight, hearing, touch, even proprioception. When a child says the ball rolled under the sofa, that utterance is shaped by having seen motion, heard sounds, and navigated physical space. AI models, by contrast, process only text tokens. They have no retinas, no eardrums, no body. They cannot see a sunset or feel embarrassment. Their responses are statistical patterns derived from human-generated text, not from direct sensory input. Furthermore, human language often arises from thinking, internal deliberation, contradiction, recollection, and imagination. Thinking involves nonlinear, recursive, and effective processes. Current AI does not think. It computes probabilities of next tokens. It does not wonder, doubt, or change its mind over time. Simulating all aspects of thinking would require more than architecture. It would require consciousness, intentionality, and a lived relationship with the world. Until AI processes sensory input as humans do, not as data, but as experience, language alone will remain a hollow mimicry, not a marker of true intelligence. The brain is the mind. Prompt. Ever since the publication of a book about perceptrons in 1969, a lot of AI research has been based on the structure of neurons. This has been very successful, but it is only the start. Although we do have a map of the apparent functions of various parts of the brain, that map doesn't really account for nature and behavior of the mind. Response. The idea that the brain is the mind has inspired neural networks for decades. Perceptrons, backpropagation, and deep learning all borrow loosely from the brain's neuronal structure, layers, connections, activation thresholds. This approach has produced remarkable engineering results: image recognition, language translation, game-playing AI. But success in engineering should not be confused with solving the mind-body problem. We now have functional maps of the brain. The visual cortex processes edges. Broca's area handles syntax. The hippocampus encodes memories. Yet these maps do not explain qualia, the raw feel of redness, the ache of longing, the strangeness of a dream. Nor do they explain how neural firing becomes subjective experience. AI models, despite having billions of artificial neurons, do not experience anything. They have no inner life, no sense of self, no understanding of meaning. The brain is a physical organ. The mind is what that organ does in a living, embodied, social context. Reducing mind to brain structure, and then to artificial neural networks, risks what philosophers call the homunculus fallacy, assuming that mapping parts explains the whole. AI research has benefited from neuromimicry, but that does not make the brain modeling approach a theory of mind. Until we understand how the brain's biology generates consciousness, copying its surface structure will never produce a thinking, feeling mind. Guessing equals thinking. Prompt. Current language models proceed by guessing the next word, and sometimes they are pretty good at it. Human thought is qualitatively different from mathematical models. Thought is not calculation. Response. It is tempting to watch ChatGPT solve a math problem or write a poem and conclude that it is thinking. But what these models do is next token prediction, a sophisticated form of guessing based on statistical regularities in trillions of sentences. When you ask, "What is the capital of France?" the model does not retrieve a memory of Paris. It calculates that after capital of France, the most probable tokens are is Paris. That is calculation, not thought. Human thought is qualitative, not just quantitative. It involves insight, doubt, metaphor, emotional coloring, and the ability to hold contradictory ideas. When you remember your childhood home, you do not compute the most statistically likely description. You experience a mental image, maybe even a smell or a feeling. Thought can be slow, hesitant, recursive, changing direction mid-sentence because of a sudden realization. Mathematical models, including transformers, are deterministic in principle, even with sampling temperature, and lack this fluid intentionality. Moreover, thinking is often about something in a way that guides action. You think about whether to take an umbrella, weighing uncertain future consequences. AI does not believe or desire. It has no stakes. Its guesses are not motivated by goals or fears. To equate guessing with thinking is to mistake fluency for understanding and correlation for intention. Thought is not calculation, and until AI models have a self, a world, and something at stake, they will remain eloquent guessers, not thinkers. Looping equals thinking. Prompt. Thinking AIs don't think like a human. They get some data about the prompt, examine it, then get more data. Response. The phrase looping equals thinking reflects a common engineering intuition. If an AI can iteratively refine its output, re-examining its own responses, retrieving additional context, correcting mistakes, then perhaps it is beginning to think. Indeed, some modern systems use chain-of-thought prompting, self-consistency checks, and retrieval-augmented generation, RAG, to simulate a kind of internal dialogue. These loops sometimes improve factual accuracy and reasoning. However, this looping is not thinking in the human sense. When a human thinks, they do not simply get more data in a mechanical cycle. Thinking involves effective shifts, associative leaps, boredom, intuition, and fatigue. You might stare out a window and suddenly remember a conversation from years ago, which reshapes your entire perspective. Looping in AI is deterministic or stochastic, but not motivated by curiosity or confusion. It is a preset algorithmic procedure. Furthermore, human thinking is sometimes anti-looping. We get stuck in rumination, bad looping, or achieve sudden insight, non-linear break. AI's looping is sterile. It never feels stuck, never gets bored, and never experiences the aha moment. It merely follows instructions to revisit data. While recursive refinement is useful for certain tasks, calling it thinking confuses a mechanistic subroutine for the organic, embodied, temporally extended process of human deliberation. Thinking is not just iterative data access, it is lived experience in time. There was also a meta prompt for this. I loaded a document with the material above, and then prompted the model with the 4 topics. The AI was to look at each topic, and the prompt for each topic, and respond with 300 words for each topic. Do you know that any private information you put into a cloud AI is used to train that AI? A private AI running on your own hardware is the best way to keep your private data private. I can help you set up a private AI on almost any PC or server. Contact me for a free consultation. I have published more than 700 blogs on AI in the past 3 years. If you get value from these blogs, please consider joining my Patreon as a member at the $2, $4, or $8 level. https://www.patreon.com/Steve Hovland.